Hi, George here, and I want to talk today about doing some photo restoration work using AIarty's Image Enhancer. Normally, this program is used for up-resing images to higher resolutions using AI to do the upscale, and it's phenomenal at that, but it has some additional tools that are really nice for improving images in other ways. Just as an example right here, nice picture, did a nice up-res in there, but there's this guy over here. Let's get rid of him. If I go over here, right-hand side, let's just close these panels down. And I'll come down here to AI Eraser. This is experimental still, but it works out very well in most cases. Let's choose Enabled, Edit Mask, and then I'll zoom in over here. There we go. And let's bring our brush size down. That's too big. Bring down about half that. That's about 19. I'm just going to brush right over that. Let's hit Apply. It will then do a new inference here and remove that guy. There it is. Perfect cleanup on that. And that's what this tool is very good at, is this kind of quick little cleanup where you're taking out little things in your image that are causing a problem. But let's take this a lot further and see how far we can actually push this tool. Now, before we get to that, if you want to find out more about how to use the AIarty Image Enhancer, this is from AIarty, who is one of my favorite sponsors for my channel. I have links for this at the top of the description. There's a couple links in there. One is for a discount on the program, and another one is a discount for installing this on up to 3 computers. So take a look at those. Let's take this out. I'll just hit the trash can here and remove that image. And I'll bring in another image, more difficult this time. And it's a picture right here. I'll just zoom out. And we'll need to do an inference in here. Now this image is at 720 by 480. So I want to go double the size, and I have that over here, upscale 2 times. I also want to have this set for more detail, and that should do a good job for us. Now you always have to do an inference before you do anything else. So let's go ahead, we'll start that and run the inference. And there we go. Let's see how that did. See, real nice upscaling in there. Now, one thing about AI images, and this happens on most AI programs, is that they may come in being just a little bit too clean, a little bit too sharp. This looks okay, but if you have a problem where it just looks a bit too good, you can come down here where it says strength, and you can back off on this. I tend to have this down a little bit anyway, maybe at about 85. It just takes a little bit of an edge off, keeps things just a little bit softer on the focus, and it looks more naturalistic that way. So I tend to like having this down just a little bit. So that's good. And that's what I would expect, just a nice upscale here, 2-time upscale. Everything looks really nice. But in this case, let's get rid of these 2 people here. And we can do that down here with the AI Eraser. Again, this is experimental. And in my testing on this, it's worked out great for me, except in one instance. If the background is too out of focus, or the person you're removing is too out of focus, or your item is too out of focus, it has problems with out of focus backgrounds. Okay, let's go on to Edit Mask, and I'll zoom in a bit. Now we have 2 images here. Also notice that it jumps back to the before version in here. So you're not seeing the after version, you're seeing the before version. Brush size looks good. Let's just come in here and brush out this person over here. And I'm going just a little bit outside of the actual person. You don't have to be exact on this, but you don't want to be missing anything. So we're covering a fairly large area in here, and let's come back in and clean in the middle section just like that. There we go. We can add another one over here. So I'm adding in 2 people. Now, if you come in and you make a mistake like that, you can change your brush here to the minus brush and then come back in and clean out the part that you don't want to have worked on like that. Let's go back to the plus brush again and finish this up. So you can go back and forth on those brushes until you get just what you want. You can also take things out one at a time and then apply that and go back and do the next bit. So you don't have to do it all in one step. You can do it a couple steps or 3 steps. And let's just come in here and clean this out. There we go. Let's hit Apply and allow this to be done. It goes to the inference again, and there we go. Looks real nice, real good job. Not really sure about this bit right here. Let's just take that out. Sometimes you may get an odd artifact like that, but we can remove that as well. This person is gone perfectly. That's now gone perfectly, and there we go. We remove those 2 people that easily, and we have our nice cleaned up look as well. We have our upscaling up here. So it went from 720 to 1440. So a pretty good example. And again, the only time I've had problems with this particular tool is if the background is too soft or too out of focus. And since this is experimental, I expect to have some things not working quite perfectly yet. Okay, that looks really nice. Now, whenever you want to export an image, of course, come down here, Export Settings. Let's open this up. I'll bring this out as a PNG 16, but you have a lot of options in here. And you can browse to a folder. I have mine set for my projects folder. That's where I opened this up from. And I'll choose single export. This normally goes very quickly. And here we go. We're back to our working folder. There's the original, and here's our new cleaned up version. That worked out great. Okay, let's just bring in another image in here. Come down, click on the plus sign, Now you can drag and drop, or you can click on one to open. I'm going to choose one here, and we're going to give this a real test. Choose open. And now this is going to be fixing a very badly damaged photograph in here. A lot of problems, a lot of little spots and speckles and so forth. On this kind of an image, I like going for a softer look. So let's use the AIGC Smooth here. We'll use this one. Same 2-time upscale. And let's start the inference. Let it go through the inference on this. And we'll then be doing two things on this photograph. I'll just do the area right in here to save time in this video. But we'll use that AI eraser tool to remove the cracks in here, in the face, some of the splotches in here. And then we'll also use the face restoration, which I haven't shown in a video yet. I think you'll find this one fascinating because these faces can use some restoration, as you can see. There we go. Okay, inference is done. There's an upscaling. As you can see, it's much, much better, but there's still a lot of problems in here. All right, let's scroll down here. Let's get the export settings out of the way. Come back down and enable the AI eraser and edit mask. It always jumps out to full screen like that. I'm going to zoom in a bit here. Now for these cracks, I think my brush size is too large. So I'll bring the brush size down to maybe about 5 in here. I think that'll work out pretty well for us. There's 5. Okay, that's good. And let's do some of these cracks in here. Again, I'm only working in this upper middle section here just to save some time on this video. But you see how well this works out. It's really a real nice tool for this kind of repair. And let's get everything in here pretty quickly, as you can see. And I'll go through and mark up everything that I want to clean up in here. We'll just jump ahead here and I'll move on to the next section. Okay, that's good for that. Let's come down here and do a bit of his shirt. There we go. I could overlap these into the girl behind. That would be okay. It'll understand where that separation is. But I like keeping things as clean as possible. And let's get some of the spots in here on the shirt. I won't get all of them. I'll just take out the worst of the spots. Oftentimes when you're doing restoration, you don't want to be too clean or too perfect. It comes off looking fake that way, so you want to leave a little bit of stuff in there. But again, I'm doing this mostly just to save us some time. And see if we can get this splotch right there. And a bit of one here, a little crack there. And that. Just a few things on the face in here. Let's get this line going right across the hair. And up around here. And this line right here comes over the eye. I'm going to come back to that in just a second. Use a smaller brush for that. I'll go real small on that one. Some of those bits. Again, just going for those little cracks. And following them clear through. And let's take up this big crack up about that far. That's good enough for this demonstration. Obviously, I would fix everything here if I was doing this as a final piece. We just want to see how well this works. And on the girl in here, let's see if we can get rid of a few of these problems. There we go. There's a little bit of a line right in here. Something in the background down here. She's looking pretty good, actually. Just a few problems in here. Okay, so that's good for the AI eraser. Let's see how well it does on removing these little imperfections for us. Click Apply. Again, I can come back and do a second pass on this, which I'll do on the eyeball. There we go. That's cleaned up nicely. Might need an additional spot up here on this crack. I'll go ahead and I'll do that. And then let's zoom in on the eye. I'm going to bring my size down here, clear down to just 1, and see if we can get that right in there. Very thin crack right there. Okay, let's apply that. So you can, as I said, come back in and do these on a couple of steps. There we go, cleaned that up. Okay, now that we have the faces looking pretty good, but they're still kind of messy in here, let's take a look at one more tool, and that's the face restoration right here. Let's choose face restoration. I have this set at fidelity and start. So we're now running our crack removal, and we're also running the face restoration on this. And there we go. I think it did just a phenomenal job in here on the restoration of the faces once we did that crack removal. So here's our before, and there's our after. I think you can't get much better than that. And then for our final step, we can, of course, come down and use the single export like we've already taken a look at. If you want to export more than one image at a time, you can do that. Just come down here to batch export, and it will export whatever you have open at the moment. And there we go. That's taken care of. Again, if you want to find out more about this tool, I have links for this at the top of the description. Go ahead and take a look at that. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you next time.